Hi guys, and welcome back to my beautiful Honda deauville. My name is Charlie, and this is the Motorcycle Rescuer. So welcome back everyone. The footage you saw yesterday and the day before was footage from over a week ago. I've actually been on holiday this week, so I haven't been around. But I'm just trying to kind of catch up. Now, this bike is stone cold, okay? Stone cold. Hasn't been started in 8 days. But you saw where I left it. I left it that I could run and ride it, but you also saw at the end that I went like this. Now the reason I went like that was because there was a stutter between low revs and medium revs, or low revs and full revs. But it didn't feel like the kind of jetting stutter that I'm used to. It felt more like the slide maybe got stuck. And I think that's what we saw, because when I first tested the carbs, I lifted the slides by hand and they definitely were stuck. So I think the piece of the puzzle I missed was not taking off the diaphragms, and I have good reason not to take off the diaphragms. Sometimes they can shrink and they can change size and they can not go back in, and then you're stuck with a bike for a couple of weeks while you source new ones, which isn't always easy. So I do have good reason to not always do the diaphragms, but also sometimes it's good too. So this is my plan for today. I want them carbs off again. I want them off fully this time. I want to run new fuel line that I've got down there, because there was a pinhole in the old line coming from the actual carb and it's a bit brittle. I want to take the diaphragms off, clean them, clean the needles, put all that back in. I want to give the carbs one more quick carb clean, and then put it all back together. In yesterday's video that I uploaded yesterday, but filmed a week before, you guys all said that this, well, a bunch of you said that this was on the wrong way. Look at the arrow, guys. The arrow is pointing that way. That way is the flow of travel. That's the fuel tank, so it comes up there, down into the pump. The pump pumps it out in the bottom line to the carb. There's the pinhole, guys. So that's absolutely on the right way, but I like you guys thought the same. I thought, hang on a minute, this bit normally would be up there, but that's just the design, and the old one was the same as well, so that's all good. And the truth is, it wouldn't make much difference if it was the wrong way around anyway, but that's the right way around for now. So these carbs weren't that difficult at all to work on. I had the Carburettor in my mind when I was taking this apart originally, which was a right pain in the arse. But I'm going to strip this back down, take the tank off, and we're going to get back to the carbs again to do that second look and that second clean, because this is a great bike, guys. You know, it's got heated grips, that works, everything works. All the brakes, haven't touched them yet, but they all work, and it just does everything. So it needs to be on the road, it needs to be fully serviced properly, so that someone can get the next 30,000 miles out of it, because 35 with full service history is very low for this bike. Right, let's start stripping down. Not me, the bike. Just turned the fuel off, but I'll show you that I think this bike will still start. Fuel is off, guys, but I want to run a little bit through. I lay money it still starts. It starts stronger on its own battery. I've got a battery for it, guys. The reason it looks dodgy with the car is because them leads have had it. Them leads need looking at. They stopped sending current across. So I believe I'm off now. Am I off now? Yeah. Let's just try and run through some of the fuel left. I think that's off. I better get the panel. That is definitely off. I just want to run it through for now. I mean, I may have found today that I ran that and it ran smooth after a week of sorting itself out, funny enough. You know, but I want to get down into the carbs again and just double check for my own peace of mind. So one of the other things I want to look at when going back down into the carbs is this area here. Now, one of you guys, I think it was you, Andy, apologies if I've got that wrong, but I think it was you, Andy, you said there needs to be the filter in here. Now, I think the filter is in there, but I'm double guessing now. And I'll cut a new piece of filter, I've got plenty, but I'll show you, I'll let you know if there is in there. So I think there is a filter in there, but I am in two minds now. So, airbox off again, that part's easy. And then remember, you just take the one bolt off up here and you peel off the bottom of the airbox and you're down to the carbs again. Fairly quick and easy, guys. It's really not a tough job on this one. So Andy, I think it was you, mate. There is kind of remnants of a filter left there. I will obviously cut a new one. It's also kind of gucky and actually oily, maybe. I'll clean that out and we'll put a nice new piece in. Here's the actual air filter. It's very clean. It's practically new, guys, or at least it was not put in that long ago. Definitely before the bike went off the road. One simple bolt here, guys, and then you peel this off. They're just rubberized. They hold it on. That bolt, peel this off, and this is gone. I'll clean that out. I'll cut a piece of foam to put that back in. I think it was Andy again, but he said that it just won't run right unless that's filtered, and that's an interesting observation. That could be what was causing the issues to start with. But I do want to give the carbs a good clean, and I do want to change that fuel line for a better one. So here you go, guys, carbs fully removed. Again, not that difficult, it was okay. When I lifted one of the slides, again, it was a bit sticky. It's not that one, it was a bit sticky, it might be this one. So, well worth getting that all taken out and greased up. Now, one thing I have to do on my bikes is I have to do things in a certain way so that I remember them. So now look, the fuel line's here. I need to replace the fuel line. It goes under there and it comes up here. Yeah? So I need to pull this fuel line out, cut a similar length with my new one, swap it straight over so that that's ready to go. That's my next step. So again, it's here, it comes up here. That's why it needs the fuel pump. Look, to pump it uphill. And then it goes back in. So I'll pop it off here, pull it through, cut the same length, swap it straight away so it's ready to go with the new line. That line had a pinhole in it down here, guys, that I sealed and it would have been fine, but the carbs are off. This is the right time to change it. Halfords carry this stuff now, guys. Look, Halfords now carry your fuel hose. 10mm, they have 9.5, they have 9, they have 8, they have plenty of this stuff. And it's good solid stuff and it's not overly pricey as well. So you have no excuses. So there you go, guys, good quality fuel line there, coming all the way up and through from the pump. Again, it goes uphill, just to remind you, that's why the pump's there. That's a good change. And any other line you find, this had a plastic cover, but that one's a better quality, thicker one, so I'm not too worried about it. Well worth changing these lines. Now, I've been contemplating recently if we can do more to help with the E10 fuel issue that's about. I think my honest opinion is, if you've got a carbed bike, I don't care how old or new it is, if it's got carbs in it, I don't think you can run E10. I think many of you might disagree with me, but I'm already seeing carbed bikes not managing, basically. And I think there's E10 in them. Maybe 3 or 4 have come up to me in the last week, or messaged me in the last week. One's coming here today that's not running well. I'm dead set the carbs are running E10. Now, I don't think the carbs can manage E10 because they just suck up the fuel that's there. The fuel sits in the bowl and they suck up whatever's there. Now, my concern is that it could be pure ethanol, it could have separated, or it's pulled in moisture from the air, which we know the ethanol does more. The ethanol's fine if you're putting in a tenner and your vehicle's compatible and you drive that tenner today or tomorrow. It's not okay for any length of time at all. It's not very stable as fuel. In my opinion, if you're running any bike with a carb, go for the premium now, guys. It's a few more pence, but it's a better fuel all round. It's cleaner for your bike anyway. It's a higher octane, which doesn't equal more power. If anything, it will lower the power, but not you'd never notice the difference. What it is going to do is keep your engine a little bit cleaner, and it hasn't got 10% ethanol in it. Anyone disagrees or agrees with me, throw that in the comments. I'll be curious to hear your say. Personally, I'm not going to be doing too much E10. Even in my car, I'm going to try and do premium. I'm going to try and put in the extra few pence. Same for the Harley and any of these old bikes that come up now, guys. Premium. My thoughts were, could we upgrade the fuel lines, the carb seals, and everything to E10 friendly stuff? No is the quick answer. In my opinion, no is the answer, because that stuff eats metal. Apparently it eats solder, it eats rubber, it eats fiberglass, it eats plastic. These bikes just aren't designed to have that much ethanol running through them. That's the truth. Anyway, little kind of advice slash rant over. I'm going to start opening up these carbs. I'm going to start with the bottoms, actually, because I want to clean out the jets all a bit more and chuck them in a container. And I think this bike's going to run beautifully today by the time I'm finished with it, I think. So guys, this is really interesting, okay? You watched me clean these carbs a week ago. Although, I don't know if... Yes, I did show the innings. That's kind of emulsion, that's varnish, that's the crap. Now I think that's come through in the line. I bet if I flush that line out, we'll see that crap in there. That's what I mean sometimes by the second carb clean is quite important. Now what I guess this reminds me to do is that when you've cleaned a tank and a carb, it's a bit silly not cleaning the fuel line at the same time. The idea would be to swap them like I've done this week. Now for me, I always kind of try and do a quick carb clean to fire something up to see what we're working with. If a bike fires up, then I'm happy to spend a couple of weeks on it, or you know, months sometimes. So I kind of stand by my quick carb clean sometimes. But on this occasion, look, it needed the second one. It would not have been a reliable bike. So we need to get that cleaned out. We need to get all the jets cleaned out again, which is fine. I've got some white vinegar there. I'm going to drop the jets in there just for a couple of minutes, clean them all out, spray through all the channels. I'm going to spray through what's left of these. This is fuel carrying line at the moment, so I'm going to try and spray through there as well, just to flush out anything else that's there. And I'll be cleaning the jets again. Look, you can see it. It's a jelly. Really interesting. So second clean was needed. I'm then going to be going down to the diaphragms as well. So we'll get to see the whole carb this time, which is cool. So we're looking good. White vinegar, cleaning the jets. Completely sprayed through, all the fuel hosing everywhere. Everything's out, including the seats for the floats there. So I'm cleaning down there as well, thoroughly. Now it's rare that you'll see me completely strip a carb to the point where I've got parts everywhere, like that. I normally like to do it bit by bit, one at a time, so it all goes back where it should be. But sometimes it's needed. This carb needs a thorough clean, and this is the way to do it. That's soaking away. I'll be spraying it out with brake cleaner or carb cleaner, of course, if you've got it. The floats need a quick clean. They're going to be the first thing to go back in for me, get them kind of sorted. And then I think we'll put the bottom ends back together and then start looking at the top. We'll clean the needles and we'll just check the diaphragms, give them a quick clean and reseat them. And then I see no reason why this shouldn't be a great running carb again. We know that there was an issue there because of the gunk that was in there. But now we've sprayed through everywhere. There's nothing left for that gunk to sit, because even if it came out the tank now, it gets filtered in the filter. The fuel pump doesn't have gunking, that line doesn't have gunking, the carbs don't have gunking. This bike's going to run beautifully after this. Now this bike, there's certain things that help you understand why some bikes stay on the road longer than others. You see this gap here that I've screwed out? this is the valve, the float valve housing, okay? Now this one screws out. What that means is that you can change these. Now the problem with some other carbs, guys, is that you can't take them out, and as the kind of sides disintegrate over time, it just doesn't matter how much you clean floats and you put them in. I think the ER5 is a good example of that. You basically can't bridge the gap. So these carbs can be rebuilt forever. So this is a bike that should be on the road for many, many years, because the whole thing could be rebuilt fairly easily. So what kind of things can go wrong when you're cleaning jets? This jet was bent. So when I put it back in, it was not screwing in very well. So I pulled it back out, tried to straighten it a touch, and it snapped. This is the kind of thing where home mechanic, this would drive you nuts, because the bike now will go back in the garage. It's all over, isn't it? But I'm going to call Jake, see if he's got this. Knowing Jake, he'll have exactly this, and it'll be ready to go back in half an hour. That's if I can get hold of him. But that shows you, guys, that shows you what you're working with when you look at kind of carb stuff. I'm really surprised that it was bent. I didn't notice earlier when I was checking it out, funny enough, but it's only when I really looked at it that I could see it was bent, and then that's not going to help the way the bike runs. Everything else fully clean and done, so that's good. But I do definitely need to go and get this jet, so I'm going to call Jake and see where he is. So without having to see Jake yet, I just looked through what I've got here, because I've always got sets kicking about that Jake left some years back. As in, he just comes down and he says, here's new sets, just see if they're coming handy. I've definitely got that jet. Now I don't know if it's the right size, because this is 45 and this doesn't have a bloody, doesn't have a thing on it. Sorry guys, I'm just trying to see if it says anywhere. But I've got my jet cleaning / boring kit here, and it's the smallest one that's needed. So I'm going to basically bore it out to exactly the same size. So I know, how do I explain that? So I know that the smallest one here goes through my original and cleans it, but the second size up doesn't. So I'm going to make sure it's the same, chuck it in, and then we're ready to carry on. That was a result. Very lucky. So the bottom end of the carb rebuild is done. It's back together. Now it's going to be interesting to see what these diaphragms are like. That will be in here and here. Be careful guys if you ever take them off. They can be a bit of a pain. There's a spring in there. I think I'm just going to clean the needles, make sure the diaphragms are clean. I don't spray any products at all on that rubber diaphragm. I just don't. And we want to make sure there's no splits in it. Knowing my luck, there's going to be splits in it, and then that's why we're having issues. But if I'm lucky, there won't be any splits in it. We use no chemical products at all on it. Just give it a rub off if we need to with a cloth, and clean the needle. So I'll show you anyway roughly what I'm talking about.